put up the buds, and then we'll have a hard freeze and we'll freeze them back. It is still a great time to plant the naturalizing narcissus, which look a lot like paper whites, but are much hardier and much more dependable as far as coming back and blooming year after year after year. The early chair, for instance, or the sugar cups or lemon cups, or golly, I don't even remember what all we have left in there.
Golden Dawn, Avalanche, and they're all mostly very, very fragrant and really
they're
pretty.
called, what are they? Just
They're called naturalizing narcissus. They're the ones that come back dependably year after year after year in our area.
Yeah, generally the paper whites are more of an annual for the most part, but the naturalizing, once you have them, you'll always have them. Other things you can do for your holiday gift items is, not necessarily always plants. You can actually do a little gift basket with some different things. I've got just a collection of things here. Especially gifts for gardeners. Get yourself a little basket like this, and I've got just a variety of things. Some of the Sandy Oaks Olive Orchard lotions. I don't know if any of you tried these. These are wonderful. They're all
We have
made.
some testers up front.
Yeah,
If
they're
you've not tried these
absolutely
things,
wonderful.
put them on your hands. You'll
And
absolutely
the
have to have
soaps,
them.
a lot of different varieties and fragrances. This particular one is just the regular olive leaf soap, and it smells wonderful. There's no preservatives in that. It's excellent for your skin. But they
Sandy
make,
harvested over
yeah.
6,000 pounds of olives off of her trees this year. So we're going to have lots of lotions and soaps this year.
But if you want to do just a real quick little gift bag, just, get yourself, for a little gift basket, get something lightweight and easy like that. Get a little bit of tissue. Just kind of
Slow
line
down
it.
and show up what you're doing, because it never works that way for me.
This is a real easy way, whether you're doing gift bags or baskets, is just grab your tissue. You don't want to fold it too much because it gets too wrinkled, but just kind of grab it in the center and just give it a good snap like that, and then you have a nice, pretty piece of tissue to work with. And you can mix the colors, like so this would be a nice fall arrangement for someone. Maybe you're going to somebody's house for Thanksgiving and you might want to do a little gift for them. And it makes a nice background for the products to sit in. This is the same technique you want to use if you're doing gift bags. That's the easiest wrapping you will ever do. When maybe you're doing a last minute gift or something and you don't have time to stop and gift wrap. Just get yourself a nice little gift bag, a couple of things of tissue, put your items in there, and you're set. Other things you can do is use the tissue if you need to kind of stage the product so that they're up and they're more visible. You can use a little bit in the base of it like that. And for this, again, use a lot of different things. Maybe some lotions, little soaps. If it's a gardener and they're a serious gardener, they know about this product, Super Thrive. Throw in a little bottle of Super Thrive. That's something everybody appreciates. Some of your hand cream. Throw in a couple of little paper white bulbs that they can force. Just give them a variety of fun things to work with. And seeds make an excellent gift. Inexpensive, easy, particularly if you're giving gifts in the fall. Wildflowers are excellent because this is the time you want to plant them. You can give them something they can plant now and they can enjoy it next spring when everything blooms. But again, see, you're talking a little 5-minute gift. Very easy. You could do the same thing with a round basket. You could do the same thing with a decorative tin or a bucket, depending on what you're going to put in it. And you can use tissue or the shredded Excelsior or raffia, whatever, just to give it a nice look. Now, we're talking about bows. I'll let Bob discuss with you about making bows. He's the professional bow maker around here.
I started working in my grandfather's flower shop when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I started making bows a long time ago, and I can tell you that it does get easier with practice. But there are just a couple of principles that you need to remember that will very definitely make an expert bow maker out of you. There are a few rules to follow too. Number one is know where your scissors are before you start. That sounds silly, but part of Murphy's Law says that as soon as you get a handful of bow and the roll of ribbon is over here, the phone will ring. It happens all the time inside when we're in the closet and they're making bows, and it's grounds for capital punishment to have taken the scissors out of the closet, because it's not a lot of fun to run all the way out of the closet with a bow in your hand, unrolling ribbon behind you. And anyway, know where your bow is. You're going to need ribbon. In most cases, you'll find that it's easiest to secure your bow with a piece of wire. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it with a piece of ribbon if you want to put them on a box or something like that. But for making bows to put on plants, using a piece of wire is usually the easiest way to do it. I'm going to make a couple of bows first, and then we'll actually dress this point setup. But the thing to remember with ribbons is the ribbon has a shiny side, the ribbon has a dull side, and you want to always keep the shiny side outward. And so what you're going to do is leave a little bit of, we call this a tail, leave a little bit of the tail sticking down, and then you're going to just simply crimp to make a loop with your ribbon. You're going to take your ribbon and see, again, that's the dull side, so when we bend it like this, we have the shiny side up. Then we're going to twist so that we always have the shiny side upward. And you just twist each time as you go, or in your hand, you may not have to twist every time, but you can put several loops on each side. How many loops will depend on how big a bow you want to make, and also how wide the ribbon is. When you get these real wide ribbons, you don't have to make as many loops to make a really nice looking bow. So I'll usually put, for dressing pot plants, I'll either usually put 5 or 6 loops on either side. And then comes trick number 2. You saw how we were just making the loops going back and forth. Now where my fingers are now is where we're going to tie it with wire, right? We don't want the wire to show. So instead of a standard loop like this, we can make a circular loop like this, or even 2 circular loops like that if we want to really hide. See how I'm just making a loop around, where these 2 loops are actually going to cover very well where I'm holding the bow right there. And we can cut it off. Now one thing that makes the bow look fancy is having these little tails hanging down. If you like having those little tails hanging down, no harm in putting a second set of tails in there. See, all they did was took a little short piece of ribbon and put another one in the center like that. Then it's a matter of just taking your wire, replacing your fingers with the wire, just like that, bend it around and pull it very tight, and twist it, and you'll have a pretty nice bow, like that.
Wow, nice.
It works best after you have done it a few times. When we are putting them on a plant, what we'll frequently do is put them on a pick, just because it makes it easier to stick it down through the foil. And you just wire it up. There's your bow to go on.
Looks pretty on a Croton or a Mumm.
Yeah, on a Croton or on a Mumm or something like that. You know, bows just really dress things up very substantial. Now, if you want to have some fun, there are other things that you can do, and it just kind of depends on what you want to do. I might not necessarily choose those 2 colors, but you can do something interesting making a mixed bow. You can do this with red and green. Just use, the same principle, but instead of just 1 piece of ribbon, you're doing the same thing with 2 pieces of ribbon.
You could even do that with 2 different size ribbons, a large
Yeah.
one and a narrow one, which gives a different look as well.
And if you're real careful in what you do, you can use a wide piece of ribbon and a very narrow piece of ribbon, and keep the narrow piece of ribbon wrapped right in the center of the wider piece of ribbon, and just create some really unusual and different